Paul Templar was living his best life. She was 28 years old and was doing tours in her hometown of Zimbabwe, focusing on photographic safaris. He had been away for several years, also on a post in the British Army. But he had returned to the African bush country and fell in love with her again. Wildlife, flora, fauna, great outdoors, space, just about everything. Templar said Zimbabwe's guide certification program is strict and there is a lot of pride among guides who pass. He taught tourists to show off the region's majestic wildlife, including water-loving, very territorial hippos. It was passive, CNN Travel said recently. Life was really, really good, until one day you had a really bad day at the office. Good day for the river. The entire course of Paul Templar's life changed after he agreed at the last minute to take a group of tourists down the Zambezi River. March 9, 1996. Templar learned of a good friend who was going to do a canoe safari on the Zambezi River. There was malaria. He decided to take his friend's place. I fell in love with that bank of the river. This was an area I knew like the back of my hand. The expedition consisted of 6 safari clients, 3 apprentice guides, and a Templar. He had 3 canoes, customers in the first 2 seats and a guide in the back. Then an apprentice guide was in a one-man safety boat. And down the famous Zambezi where they go. Things were going as they were supposed to. Everyone was having a pretty good time. Possible future problems. Zambezi National Park in Zimbabwe offers many wildlife viewing opportunities, including hippos, one of Africa's most intriguing animals. Richard Ianson Stone RF. Eventually, they came across a pod of about a dozen hippos. On the Zambezi, Africa's 4th longest river, this is not unexpected. They were not worried at first as they were at a safe distance. But we were getting close and I was trying to do some evasive action. The idea is, let's just safely row around hippos. Templar's canoe led the way, 2 other canoes and rowboats followed. He withdrew into a small canal waiting for the others. But 3rd canoe fell back from the group and went off planned route. Templar wasn't sure how that came about. All of a sudden, there's this big thud. Suddenly, there's this big thud. And Evans, guide behind canoe, jumped out of canoe. The customers somehow managed to stay in canoe. Evans is in the water and the current is washing Evans 150 meters, 490 feet, towards a mother hippo and calf. So I know I need to get it out fast. She yells at Ben, one of the other guides, to pick up customers who were in the attacked canoe. Ben led clients to safety on a rock in the middle of river that hippos couldn't climb. Trying to save. Meanwhile, Templar turned his canoe to pick up Evans. The plan was to lure him in and pull him into Templar's canoe. I was running towards him. I approached and saw this wave of bows coming towards me. If you've ever seen any of those old movies with a torpedo heading towards a ship, it was something like this. I knew it was either a hippopotamus or a really big crocodile coming towards me. But I also knew that if I hit the blade of my shovel into the water, it's really loud. The underwater impacts seemed to push the animals away, he said. So I slapped the water and, as it should have, the torpedo wave stopped. It was getting closer to Evans, but they were also getting closer to the female and the calf. I'm leaning. It's some kind of Hollywood-made movie. Evans reaches out. Our fingers were almost touching. Then the water inside us flowed away. It happened so fast that I couldn't see anything. What happened next was nightmarish and surreal. My world has become dark and strangely quiet. Templar said it took a few seconds to figure out what was going on. From the waist down, I could feel the water. I could feel myself getting wet in the river. As it came over me, it was different. I was warm and not wet like a river, but not dry either. And there was an incredible amount of pressure on my back. I realized I was up to my waist down the throat of a hippopotamus. Hippos large, territorial and dangerous hippos are at home in water or on land. This hippopotamus was in Chobe National Park, located in northern Botswana's famous Okavango Delta. There's good reason why fully grown hippo can fit a large portion of fully grown adult in its mouth. Hippos can grow up to 16.5 feet, 5.2 feet long and 4.5 tons, according to National Geographic. They have very large mouths and can open their powerful jaws up to 150 degrees. Your teeth can be the scariest thing. The molars are used to eat plants, but their sharp canines, which can reach 20 inches, are for defense and combat. Their bite is almost 3 times stronger than a lion's bite. One bite from a hippopotamus can cut a human body in half. They live naturally various parts of sub-Saharan Africa, particularly in eastern and southern Africa, or near rivers and other water sources. Hippos are very territorial and can aggressively attack any animal that encroaches on their territory, including hyenas, lions, and crocodiles. Hippos and humans, they also kill people. What we know for sure. Many internet sources say it's around 500 per year, but the exact figure is still unclear because some attacks come in very remote areas and go unreported. When people find out I'm studying hippos, the most asked question to me is, do hippos kill more people than any other animal? I'm not sure where this starts, but there is no authority or reliable data. People are surprised that hippos kill people. They seem slow and mostly in the water. There are some non-lethal interactions, but humans tend to fare badly from interactions. African Wildlife Fund's Vice President for Species Conservation and Science, Dr. Philip Muruthi, said the AWF does not have a reliable source on the number of attacks or s. While more statistics need to be collected, one study found that the odds of being killed by hippo were between 29% and 87%, higher than grizzly bear 4.8%, shark at 22%, and crocodile 7%. He threw me out. These were pretty bad chances of surviving against the Templar. I think I was stuck so low down his throat that he must have been annoyed because he spat me out. So I sprang to the surface, sucked in a lungful of fresh air, and came face to face with Evans, the guide I was trying to save. And I said, "We have to get out of here. Evans is in serious trouble." Templar started swimming back for him, and I was just going for the classic lifeboat stance, wham. I was shot from below. He tried to take his gun, but he was beaten.